All right. Welcome to another episode of Can You Survive This Podcast? My guest today is a poet, a fighter, a veteran. Welcome to the podcast, Faith.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's great to be here.
So what's going on? What are you up to these days? Fighting or going to the jungle, working on any projects? What's going on these days?
Yeah, I would say I'm kind of all over the place. I just got back from a retreat called Tiwa's Awakening. Believe believe that was March. I got back around April or so. Um, I'm writing poetry every day, and then actually last night I made the decision to talk to my Muay Thai coach, and I told him I wanted to fight. So we're looking to see if I can get a fight around October, hopefully.
Oh,
So
cool.
pretty stoked about that. Yeah, as my last fight was not good. I kind of got fucked up.
Oh, really? How
Yeah.
long have you been fighting for?
I think since like 2019. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Oh,
And
but then
so
COVID happened and then there's like a big break. So it's kind of like inconsistent in that time period. So yeah.
when was your last fight?
It was in December. Yeah.
Okay. And it didn't go so well.
No, I got put out. Had a pretty bad concussion, and that's why it's taken me so long to get back. Plus, I was traveling a lot over in Peru. But yeah, I'm ready to get back on it and avenge that.
Nice, nice. Good for you. So, what does the training look like if you're going to fight in October? What is your training going to look like?
Um, you know, I'm just gonna be at the gym pretty much every day except for Sundays. It's it's kind of like it depends. I do have a separate strength and conditioning gym I need to get back on. So I would train with them 3 nights a week. And then anytime I'm not there, I'm gonna be at the striking gym. So yeah, and sparring about 2 to 3 times a week as well, on top of just pad work and
Got
that.
you.
Yeah.
Got you. Got you.
So basically that's all I do.
You just go to the gym.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. And I have a new roommate and they're a fighter as well. So it's just like that's all we do.
That's all you guys do is train and fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that so? Are you a professional fighter then?
I'm not. I'm an amateur. I'm
Gotcha.
amateur Muay Thai and kickboxing. But I would say because I'm in the Denver area, MMA is huge over here. Like there's so many like UFC, PFL, Bellator, MMA fighters over here. It's just not really, I don't like going to the ground, so I just prefer to hit people.
Okay, so I don't know a ton about like UFC and fighting and stuff, but so what would you be like a puncher, a striker?
Yeah, I'm a striker. Yeah.
Got you, got you. So you're doing a lot of kickboxing training then.
Yeah, yeah, and Muay Thai. So Muay Thai just it's like kickboxing but with added things like you can elbow, you can knee, you can clinch. I
Yeah.
prefer. I think it's better.
How long were you in the military?
I was in for 8 years.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What years? When did you get out?
Um 2021. Yes.
Got
So
you, got you. So you got into the MMA before you got out.
yeah, yeah, I was in San Diego, stationed there. That was my last duty station, and I was a I was like really big into like powerlifting at the time, and I just walked into this UFC gym and just took a kickboxing class for fun, and the coach started talking all this shit, He's very charismatic about it, but I was like, "Oh, well, like I'll show you I could do it," and I just got hooked. So
Nice. Have you ever just knocked someone out in a fight with a strike?
No, no, that would be nice, especially since I first experienced it this last time. Now I'm like, okay, well now I want to do it.
Oh,
I have
wow.
I have stopped someone with leg kicks though before.
Oh,
Um
really?
yeah, like the fight got stopped because like they couldn't stand anymore.
Oh, you were just kicking their leg and they couldn't they were just on their back at some point. They couldn't stand.
Yeah, basically it's just like, yeah, they called the fight, they couldn't stand anymore. So like that's where I'm good at is leg kicks. I need to sharpen up my punches.
Got you. Got you. Now, this may be an uncomfortable question, but can you tell me what was the scenario in your fight? How did you get knocked out?
Um, I would say huge part of it was mental. another part is she was just far more experienced and she was just better, you know? But I would say going into it, it was the first fight that I actually felt excited. Um, and it was a weird feeling because there's a progression of my first few fights. Like I was so scared, then I became neutral, and then the last one was like, oh, like I'm kind of excited to be here. But yeah, she was just really good, and she just got me really good with a right hand, and like I saw stars, and everything went black, and next thing you know, I'm on the ground, and I like don't remember, and I was like, oh, okay,
Oh, wow.
yeah. But she was a hometown girl, and everyone was there for her, and it was even though I lost, it was a cool experience. So
Okay. And so you're in Denver, you said, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
you're not, where are you from?
I grew up in Kansas.
Got you. Got
Yeah.
you. So she had
Yeah.
the hometown advantage on you.
Yeah, yeah, because that fight was in Kentucky. They flew me out, which is it
Oh.
was my first time being flown out. Like it was like as an amateur, like everything was new to me. We were the main event. Like it was just, yeah, it was very surreal.
Mm-hmm.
So
So let's come back to fighting in a second. Tell me, you mentioned Tiwaz. Can you tell us what that is?
yeah, Tiwa's Awakening. It's veteran founded ayahuasca retreat
Hmm.
where they involve fighting modalities, which really appealed to me because I do ayahuasca and I am a fighter, and so to me it made perfect sense. And then they also add in like sacred mountain hikes, pilgrimages. Yeah, it's a very beautiful, powerful experience, and I really love the people over there, and I've gotten closer to them and really appreciate what they're doing.
So you had done ayahuasca before going on this retreat then?
Yeah, yeah, I've done it quite a bit. It helped me transition out of the military actually. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Can you tell us like a little bit about that experience and that transition and how the plant medicine helped with that?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So I was medically retired from the military. I didn't want to get out, but I kept getting offered this retirement. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? My mental health is suffering. I'm trying, like I tried everything because I really wanted to stay in.
Hmm.
Nothing was helping. And so I decided it's like, maybe I do need a fresh start. So I got out. And the second I got out, I booked a trip to Costa Rica. And yeah, I just dove in and did ayahuasca over there. Um, and I would say that helped the transition. One of the big themes of that, because I feel like every time I do ayahuasca, there's like a theme, right? So that theme in particular was teaching me that I need to ask for help because I am so stubborn, and I think a lot of us are, and we don't want to be seen as weak. And it was interesting. It's like 3 nights of ayahuasca in a row. It was like they were building on each other.
Hmm.
I It kept telling me, ask for help, and I kept denying it, denying it. Finally, the third night, I was so nauseous and miserable, and it was like, you need to ask for help, or you're not going to throw up. Because I so desperately wanted to throw up and feel better.
Hmm.
And I just kept fighting it all night. And eventually I went up to the shaman and I was like, hey, I need help. And he was like, with what? And I was like, I'm just supposed to ask you. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. Then, he did his stuff, like blowing smoke on me and gave me a talk. And then I threw up, and then I had this beautiful rebirth,
Mm.
like flowers growing out of me. And it was, yeah, it was amazing. And then that's the whole start of the journey. And, I've been continuing to do it and peel back the layers. And I mostly, um, I mostly stick with Peru. I feel like I found the right people and the medicine is a lot stronger over there
Mhm.
and
Okay. And
more affordable.
is Peru, is that with Tiwaz or only sometimes?
So, I've sat with these people. Their names are Heather and Nico, and
Hmm.
they run Hampway House out of Peru. Beautiful people, and I've done the bulk of my ceremonies with them. And then I met Luke and Bryce and Shinsi at Tiwa's Awakening, and so I've only done 3 ceremonies, with Tiwas. They're vastly different from, Hampoy House. Like, Hampoy House studies under the Mestizo tradition,
Hmm.
and, the shaman under Tiwas studies under the Shipibo tradition, and I think they're both very beautiful, and yeah, I've had great experiences with both.
So for the listeners, Shipibo, that would be like indigenous Peruvian, and then
Yeah.
mestizo is like kind of like a blend of indigenous Shipibo with uh other influences.
I don't want to speak wrongly on it. I just kind of got a brief explanation one time that I think mestizo is kind of like a collective group. Maybe they do take from different lineages, but I think it's these people that are just called to the medicine and they kind of created their own way,
Got
right?
you.
I could be wrong, but that's what I understand of it.
And in Colorado, is it legal now to work with psychedelic medicines
Um, I
or
don't know if
gray
it's
area?
legal, but I think it's decriminalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, I had on a guy, Austin Mao, who actually he founded a church in Colorado, an entheogenic church. He was
Is
on,
it in
and
Boulder?
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And the Tiwaz guys are coming on like in a week to share
Oh,
about their
nice.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So so very excited. So you went down to Costa Rica. It was 2021,
Yeah, that's when I first went. Yeah.
and that helped you kind of transition out of the military. What branch did you say of the military you were in?
I was in the Navy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you were down in Peru a couple of months ago.
Mhm.
Um, and that, can you talk about that experience? Like what kind of called you to come back to it and what did you get out of that?
Yeah. So, yeah, we can get into that. I went to Peru twice. I went in December right after that fight. And then I came back a few months later because I had met Luke there the first time, and then I came back in March. But I would say what called me back in December is I was going through like the hardest breakup of my life. Like
Mm,
it's just, and I'm still recovering from it. It's very difficult. And
mhm.
on top of that, my current gym was falling apart. And then on top of that, I get knocked out.
Wow.
And it's just like everything's just it was like a tornado or like a hurricane, and I was just like, okay, well maybe this thing will help. Um, and the main reason was to try and like get over my heartbreak.
Mm,
Fun fact, ayahuasca is not a magical fix, but
mhm,
it can help a
mhm,
lot. So it showed me a lot. I actually went through like a lot of darkness in those ceremonies. Those ceremonies were actually very heavy.
mhm.
Um, and then, I came back, I was still struggling with my mental health. Like I was, suicidal. I was suicidal before, suicidal after. Met Luke. I was like, he wanted me to come back, and I was like, I don't know if this is the right decision. I came back anyways, because I wanted to get involved with their project because I really liked it.
Mhm.
I was hesitant to drink again, but after getting to know the shaman they had, his name is Bryce, I felt more comfortable, and I sat with them. And actually, I don't know if you know, they also had a Wachuma ceremony with Tiwas.
Okay, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that is the thing that I really needed, and that is what like really helped. Like everything helped, right? But the Wachuma was just so beautiful. It helped me release everything. And yeah, it was just beautiful. And it made me just realize like everything is a gift. The darkness is a gift. The breakup was a gift,
Wow.
the heartbreak is a gift. Because
In what way did it show you those things are gifts?
um I was not necessarily visually seeing anything, but it was bringing up a lot of emotions. And the Wachumero is what they're called. Um He is incredibly gifted, and he came over and he just like spoke straight to my soul. I didn't tell him anything that I was going through, and he just started talking about things, and like he was right, like, I'm heartbroken and all these things, and you know um to love myself and to see God within everything. And then he did some energy work on me to help me release energies. And then after that I just kind of sat there for a while, and I just had this epiphany of like, wow, like that heartbreak was the biggest gift, because if I didn't have it, I would I would have never realized my worth.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like when I went down the mountain, it was like I was releasing everything, and I was grateful, because like now it's like the things that I accepted in the past, I'm not going to accept anymore.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So it
Mhm.
sounds like you kind of raised up into a level of self-love where
Yeah.
you're not going to take unless it's like up to a certain level, then you're not going to take it.
Yeah, because I have had the pattern of, you know, I will do anything for this person, right? And I'm so loving and giving, and but it's like, am I getting that in return? You
Hmm.
know? No, I wasn't. And but I was still attached. And it's like, no, I deserve the same love that I put out.
Yeah, yeah, nice. Was it a very long relationship?
No, surprise, and it's interesting how this was the hardest one. I would say it was about a year.
Mhm.
But the first 6 months were kind of off and on, and then the last 6 months, were steady. But yeah, it's hard to tell why this one was so much harder than the rest. Because anything in the past, it was easy for me to let go.
Mm-hmm, hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had guests who have done Wachuma on before, and I've heard they say it's a big heart opener.
Yes, he was telling me to open my heart. Yeah, and I think I don't know if you're gonna have Chinzia on, but her and I have formed a beautiful friendship, and we're kind of silly sometimes, and she's like, "Open your heart." So
Nice.
it's kind of our thing now.
Okay, I'll try to get her on. So is she
Yeah.
one of the kind of like facilitators over there?
Yes, so I believe she is I don't know the correct title, but she's kind of like the mover and shaker. Like she organizes everything and schedules everything. But also the Wachumero, she is his intern.
Hmm,
So she's studying directly underneath him. And she
cool.
also translates for him as well.
And who's this? Who's she interning under?
The Wachuma shaman.
Oh, okay. Got you. Got you.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned that Tiwas, they cater with like a fighting aspect.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit? How's that work?
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember, but earlier I mentioned I prefer striking. There's a reason. Um, they do have striking. They also have jujitsu, and honestly, I really appreciate the jujitsu element. I struggle with jujitsu because I get very claustrophobic and I get kind of panicky. That's why I stay away from it. Um, but that's the exact reason that they have it. So the black belt there, he's amazing. His name is Bruno. And first thing right out the gate, he tells me, like, okay, lay on the ground and we're gonna go half guard. He's on top of me. He's like, all right, get out. I start panicking. I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe. This huge guy, black belt, is on top of me. I feel like I'm gonna die, right? And that's the whole point of they're relating that to ayahuasca. It's like a good teaching moment of, if you're going through a hard time in ceremony, what you need to do is you need to stop and
Hmm.
breathe through it and not panic. And I was panicking. So yeah, I love how they meld all of that together, and it's beautiful. So
Interesting. And how long are the retreats? Like a week, 2 weeks?
I think it's like slightly over a week. I can't remember. Maybe like 10 days, 9 days. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And do you have any plans to go back anytime soon?
Um, I don't. I think I'm at this point of my life, where I'm supposed to do the work now. I
Mm,
think I've done ayahuasca so much. Like I've done it like, I don't even know, 16 times within the past, 2 years or so. And it's been great, but I think this is the time where I really need to sit down and be in reality and work on the lessons that were put
mhm.
in front of me.
Yeah, that's another common thread is people talk about integration,
Yeah.
incorporating those lessons back into your life and trying to live a better life.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. And you could do 100 ceremonies and, you know, but if you don't do the work, nothing's gonna get better.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you transitioned out of the military, you felt like plant medicine, you felt like called to it. You felt like you needed it during that transition time.
Mhm.
Can you share a little bit like what made the transition so challenging?
I think it was just challenging because it, it was all I've ever known in my adult life. Like as soon as I graduated high school, I went straight to boot camp. It's a story I think a lot of us have. Like, I came from a broken home and I was trying to get away. Okay, I see this thing that'll give me independence, in a new life, right? So I'm really grateful for it. But it's scary to get out because it's like, well, this thing that helped me and this is all I know. And like what's out there, I don't know. It's scary. Like, can I be happy and survive, even make money? That's a scary thing. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm. And the medicine kind of helped you ease through all those, navigate those challenges.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, also I forgot, like it's also an identity thing. A lot of people attach their identities to their jobs, like the military and everything. And I think the ayahuasca helped to detach and be like, you're not the military. You are not just the sailor. You are so much more than that. And I think that helped with the transition as well.
Got you. Got you. So you said your upcoming fight is your main focus right now.
Yeah.
Um, but you do some creative work too, like writing, and you're into that stuff. Is any of that kind of any projects happening?
Yeah, I'm working on a poetry book right now. I think that's another benefit. After one ayahuasca ceremony, I was just so overcome with emotion. I just started writing. And I didn't even know I could write poetry. I had no idea that was even possible. And I haven't stopped since. And I was like, oh, well, now I want to write a book.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you're doing a book of poems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So
And when do you have any estimate on like when that'll be out in the world?
yeah, I'm hoping by the end of 2025. So I need to get it all situated and put together. I don't want to just slap it together and throw it out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Take
yeah.
take some time with it. Um, our mutual friend mentioned that you're into filmmaking as well. Is that correct, or was I misinformed?
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. I'm in film school currently, so
Oh.
I would not say that I don't know if I want to call myself a filmmaker yet. I'm aspiring to be one.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, still getting through school and I'm learning all the technical stuff and that's where I struggled. So that's why I went to school. But yeah, I
Gotcha.
would love to make ayahuasca documentaries, and then fight doc as well because I'm fascinated by the psychology of a fighter.
Hmm.
Like why do they fight? A lot of them come from broken homes. A lot of them come from trauma. Um, People who don't know fighters might just look at them and be like, have their stereotypes and their opinions, but they're a very layered group of
Hmm.
individuals, and there's a lot to them. So,
What else drew you into the world of MMA?
um, really just to prove myself, you know, um, and that's another layer that got peeled back during a ceremony of like I wanted to prove that I was good enough, right?
Mm.
That I was strong enough, that I was special enough. And that goes back to family issues of, I always did these grand things, out of the box things, and the ayahuasca actually showed me like, hey, you were doing that to prove yourself that you're good enough to your family. Um,
What kind of out of the box things? You were like an adventurer in your younger life?
Yeah, well, I guess when I was really young, well, not even really young, just all the way through high school, I always wanted to be in the spotlight. Like I was always in all the plays and stuff. And then I joined the military, which was unexpected. And then, I was a volunteer firefighter, which was unexpected. And then I became an MMA fighter, or no, sorry, Muay Thai fighter. And then after I got out, I was like a wildland firefighter. And I realized that the thing that was driving me the whole time was me trying to prove something, you know. I enjoyed it. I'm grateful for all the experiences. But was I doing them because I truly wanted to do them? And I think a lot of people struggle with that or maybe don't even realize that.
Yeah. It seems like you did a lot of like jobs or positions of service. So thank you for that. What did you say you were a wildland firefighter? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that was actually a pretty cool experience. When I got out, there was an all veterans wildland fire crew. And
Hmm.
I started off as the assistant crew leader. And then I got bumped up to the full crew leader. And then I came back the next year just for a little bit to train someone in the position. So
What part of the world was that in?
it was in Colorado, but it was in Salida, Colorado. So I would say it's about like 3 hours south of me. Yeah, in the
Did you have
mountains.
any big like do you have any crazy stories? Like did you put any massive fires out or like anything crazy that you're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe we got out of that one."
No, unfortunately, it was a very wet season and we were all pretty bummed. Only one of our crew members, he did get the opportunity to go travel with the Forest Service because we were partnered with them.
Mhm.
So if they did get put on fires, they would pull like one or two of us out of our crew. And he really wanted to go, so I let him go and he got to experience that. And the rest of us were pretty jealous. So
Got you. Got you. And what we never talked about, what kind of position, what work were you doing when you were in the military?
I was an aviation bosun's mate aircraft handler. So I was launching and recovering the aircraft out to sea on an amphibious um, assault
Oh,
ships.
cool.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
where were you based then?
I was first based in Sasebo, Japan, on the Bonhammer Shard, which sadly is no longer with us. It got burned down in port when we moved to San Diego.
Oh, what happened?
So we were in the yards. The yard period is when you basically take apart the ship and rebuild it because it was in its half-life. And I think it had just gotten out of the yards. And there's controversy over what started it. But
A
yeah.
cigarette?
Yeah, I think they tried to pin it on a younger sailor. I don't know what came of it. People like to blame contractors. I don't know, but what I know is that it was a gnarly fire and that whole ship is just it's gone.
Wow. But all everyone's okay though. No injuries,
Yeah, yeah.
just the boat is gone, but all humans are safe.
Yeah, I think there might have been some minor injuries, but other than that, everybody was good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Were you based anywhere else in the world other than where else have you been?
Really, it was just I was stationed in Maryland on
Oh, I'm from Maryland.
really, what part?
I grew up in Silver Spring.
Okay, nice. I was in Patuxent River. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's more south.
Yeah. Yeah, the Patuxent, gosh, I live in LA now. I haven't been back home in a long time, but I think the Patuxent passes through like
Mm.
a lot of Maryland and also DC and then probably down into Virginia. I could be wrong for all my listeners. Sorry. Haven't been home in
Yeah,
a while. So
nice,
you were
nice.
down around like DC, Maryland, Virginia?
Yeah, that was my first duty station, which was very weird. For us, our rotation is usually you're out to sea for 5 years first, and then you go to shore duty for three. For some reason, I got the reverse. So I started off 3 years shore duty, and then I got sent to Japan, and then I rode the ship over to San Diego. So
Oh, cool. How
yeah,
long does that take?
I don't even know. It's been so long, I can't even remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think it was just a straight shot. I think we were probably operating and doing stuff. So, because we would work with like different countries like Thailand and Australia and because we were forward deployed, so we would go out quite often, but for shorter periods of time. So for me to remember, they all kind of jumbled together for
It all
me.
blends together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what happened? You mentioned this, but I forget. You said you got out, but you wanted to stay in. What was the story with that?
Yeah, so, a l I had PTSD, from the volunteer firefighting. So when I was stationed in Maryland, a lot of the people that I worked with, we were all volunteer firefighters for the community,
Hmm.
outside of work, and, it was a great time, but, you see a lot doing that job, and I didn't understand it at the time. All I know is I started getting really jumpy in Walmarts. I couldn't be in crowds. I started seeing dead people that I had seen, and then it just kind of kept going, and when I went to Japan, right, I had some things happen over there, unfortunately, that were, pretty traumatizing, and, on a deployment, we did have a Osprey crash, and we lost a few people, so it was just like a combination of things that kept happening, and so I was depressed and anxious and jumpy and trying to figure it out. And I started taking, antidepressants, and it helped me get through and be able to do my job. Um, but yeah, and it just kept building and I wasn't getting better. And so they saw that I was trying over the years and they offered me, a medical retirement. And it took me a while. I went to my mentor about it. He's a great man. And he told me to take it, and he was like, "Do it. This is your chance for a new life." And I was like, "I don't know." And I was like, I was scared to get out. So I waited for a year but my symptoms progressively got worse. And I was like, you know what? So it was about a year later, I decided to take it and start my life over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Things are better, and you're no more medication, no more stuff, or
It's still hard. Even with the ayahuasca, like that has tremendously helped. A lot of my symptoms um are dialed down, I would say. Like I'm able to get through things like, something as simple as being overwhelmed in crowds. I can handle it a lot better. But I would say that everything is still there. It's just kind of under the surface and I'm able to handle it a lot better. I try to stay away from medication. Um I've been, you know, fairly depressed in the past few months, and I have started microdosing psilocybin.
oh,
And I would
cool.
say I feel a lot better about doing that for me than taking SSRIs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard that that's a great alternative modality is the microdosing. Has that been seeming successful, or still too early
Oh,
to
yeah.
tell?
I would say it's helped a ton. I could just
Nice.
feel that like my mood is elevated. I'm not stuck in this hole all the time. I'm able to enjoy life more and appreciate things more. So yeah, I would
Nice.
say, there's never a magical fix for anything, but I feel like there's so many tools to help.
Yeah, and that's another common theme that I've heard about plant medicine is not a magic bullet, but it does give you those tools.
Yeah.
And, just like we were saying, now you have the integration time to sort of integrate those lessons and those tools and kind of
Yeah.
build those into your repertoire. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I know it's very like, it's a lot of personal stuff and plant medicine and it's very personal journey. So thank you for sharing that. And hopefully, if anyone's listening, they can maybe find Tiwa's awakening, or find microdosing, or find something that will help them.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely encourage it and I definitely encourage everyone to do their research and yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing and I wish more people would have access to it.
Yeah. Are you I know you got a fight in October. Are you getting in the gym today? You got what's your plan looking like?
Yeah, so when I told the coach last night, I was like, "Hey, I think I want to fight again." He's like, "All right, your ass better be in here." And apparently there's like a veiled threat that I'm gonna get beat up on Wednesday. So I'm
Oh,
gonna go.
really?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited though. So
You're excited for this. Nice. You have a good attitude.
yeah, yeah. So it'll be good. So tonight I'll just go in and hit the bag, and then tomorrow's probably heavy sparring. So
Nice. That'll be a lot of fun.
yeah, definitely.
Um, I'm I'm easing back into my own gym routine. I'm not a fighter, but I'm easing back into the gym. You know what I really like? I don't know if you ever use these. Do you ever use those TRX straps? They're like those yellow and black
Yeah,
straps.
those are really good. Yeah.
I like those a lot. Yeah, I find I can do a lot of stuff with those. So
Nice, nice. Yeah, those are a lot harder for me than lifting weights.
yeah, yeah. Are you lifting a lot too in your regimen? Are you lifting?
I haven't been because I took a break from the strength and conditioning gym. I was just trying to simplify my life and figure things out, and then now I'm adding things back on. So yeah, I should start back on that, and pretty excited because their name is Barwis. They have a few locations and they're really great with fighters. And yeah, they also put you on like the Aerodyne bike, I believe it's called.
Oh,
And
what's
like
I don't know what that is.
like it's like that bike, but you also move your hands at the same time. It's like a full body kind of sprint deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that'll get you winded and it's really great for upping your cardio, which I really need. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, you want to be able to go long rounds, right? A lot of rounds.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Going down to Kentucky, even though it didn't end well, coming from elevation and doing those sprint workouts with them, it helps so much. Like I was not tired in that fight. They did a
I was
really
I was going to ask about that. You must have some advantage if you're training up there in Colorado. The air is much thinner, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why the MMA community here is so huge, is because of the elevation.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, when you went down to Peru, were you in some crazy elevations too, or no?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, theirs is worse. Like,
Yeah,
um, yeah, and that was great as well. And I did some trekking over there, and you could feel it. So I
I
lost so much weight over there. I stayed there for a month. All I did was walk. I'm just walking and hiking, and it's just insane. Like everything just falls off.
in
So
your yeah, I had some friends who were in Peru a few months ago, and they were like, "Oh my God, I was like nauseous from the
yeah,
elevation."
yeah, it'll get you.
Um, have you heard some of my friends who went to Peru, they were doing plant dietas. So they were
Mm,
dieting like on specific plants. And
mhm.
I think they were working with some ayahuasca, but it wasn't like a specifically ayahuasca thing. Have you heard of that? Like dieting with like certain plants? You guys talk about that in any of your plant groups?
Yeah, so I have done one diet.
Oh, you have.
This was with Heather and Nico at the Hompoy house. This was in December. I've known them for such a long time and I've sat with them for such a long time and they knew what I was going through. So they suggested that I diet with the Lupuna plant.
Okay.
Um, and from what I understand, it's about self-love and love, but with like strong rooted boundaries. Because
Oh,
you can
okay.
also diet with another plant called Bopinsana. From what I understand, it's all about like self-love and everything. But I guess Lupuna is coming at it just from like a bit of a different energy, which they felt that I needed. And honestly, I could feel it. I can feel myself having stronger boundaries with people, not feeling guilty about drawing those boundaries. Um, yeah, I think it helped a lot. Even though those particular ceremonies were very dark and very difficult, I feel it. And so yeah.
When you were dieting with that plant, are you only eating that plant and then also drinking ayahuasca? Or can you talk a little? I don't know if you're like not supposed to talk about it either. So
Oh
if you,
no, it's fine. And I will preface this with the different lineages have their different ways of doing it.
yeah,
But This one, I just ate a very bland diet. It was just like lentils and vegetables. Maybe I would get like one egg as like a treat, you know?
Mhm, mhm.
And that was about it. It was like no salt, really no sugars, very, very plain. And then I drink the Lupuna tea every day and then go into ceremony at night. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think for the listeners out there, a lot of people in the world today forget that like fasting practices have been some of the biggest spiritual practices for like thousands of years. So for the listeners out there who are like, why are you guys talking about like eating weird bland food and like being on a restrictive diet? And it's supposed to encourage personal growth and spiritual growth as far as I've been told.
I really believe that, and I will say this kind of goes into something else, but what's also been huge with me lately, and I'll tie this back to the fasting, is just I am at the point where I'm exploring everything. I'm looking into every religion. I'm looking into every theology, and I've learned so much, and there are differences, but I will say there's so many similarities linking them all together, and fasting is one of them. Um,
Hmm.
I was looking into Islam and, the fasting during Ramadan and their views, and then Lent, and then, what I do with ayahuasca. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's so many similarities between all of them, and I was like, it must mean something. There must be something to it, fast. And then science even proves that fasting is good for you.
Yeah, it's like if
Yeah.
people that got into what do you I forget what you call it, like micro fasting, where you give your body a chance to like really clear itself out, like maybe one day a
Yeah.
week or something.
Hmm.
And I think they've said, I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me, people, but
Hmm.
I think they've said that this even has like anti-cancer properties. By fasting, your body, it doesn't have to deal with all this other gunk, and so it
Yeah.
can find other problems and heal itself more easily.
Mm.
um and yeah, like a little bit on the esoteric side, it's almost like when you take less calories, your spirit, for those out there who believe in that, your spirit kind of expands for like other sources of energy when you're not taking all these calories.
Yeah.
That's like one of the ways that I look at it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that that's great. And I also, I'm still exploring, and I don't necessarily have a fully formed opinion on everything, but I do think that stripping away all of your desires, right? Like for all these foods and,
Sugar,
sex, sugar, um,
salt.
everything, it really forces you to like look within, and I feel like that helps you connect more as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Well, I'm curious. As this is Can You Survive This podcast,
Mhm.
are you interested in a hypothetical survival scenario?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. So listeners know what this is. I've explained to you before we started a little bit what it is. I have two scenarios. This is something I don't do. Usually I just give the guest whatever I got. I'm going to give
Mm.
you a choice. I got two scenarios. I have a scenario hypothetically navigating a psychedelic experience, or I have a scenario navigating a UFO invasion.
Ooh, let's go psychedelic experience.
Okay, you want to go psychedelic? Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
We get that one out. Great choice.
Thank you.
All right. So, for this hypothetical survival scenario, you are about to embark on a profound psychedelic journey with the guidance of a skilled facilitator. The journey aims to explore the depths of your mind and consciousness. Before the journey, you are advised to follow a specific diet to enhance the experience. First question: do you A, stick to a plant based diet for a few days or more before the journey, or B, restrict your meat intake to once a day in the days leading up to the journey?
Hmm. I think I'm gonna go with A. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Are you a meat eater in your life?
I am. I'm on the carnivore diet right now.
Oh,
But
really?
I'm able to switch very fast. Like I was on the carnivore diet and then I went straight in dieta with the plants. So
I've
maybe I
heard
made the wrong decision. I don't know.
I'm A is correct. We're going to give you A. I forgot to mention that you can also push back on any answer. If you are like, you said
Oh,
A, but I actually think B, if you give me, your reasoning, then
okay.
then the judges can give it to you.
Okay, cool.
And so I'm curious though, tell me about the carnivore diet.
Yeah. Uh, I want to like it. Honestly, I think if I put in more effort into cooking my stuff, more variety of meats, I would probably enjoy it a lot more. I'm not the best cook. I'm kind of lazy, so I just kind of put together the easiest thing. I'm doing it for health reasons, because I have so much acne and issues, and I'm trying to clear that up and find out the root cause of the problem.
Okay.
That's why I'm on it. But yeah, I kind of miss variety.
So with the carnivore, does that mean you eat only meat and nothing else?
Yeah, I'm eating meat, eggs, and butter for me. I mean, different people do it different ways. I think I'm gonna slowly ease out of it and because I've done it a few times, right? And every time I do it, my acne does clear. But
Interesting.
I don't want to do this forever. So I feel like maybe there's certain fruit, like certain foods that I need to avoid.
Yeah, I wonder something must be causing it. Maybe like a certain fruit or sugar.
Yeah.
I always think it's sugar. That's just me though.
Well, I honestly, and I've been looking so far into it. I think I possibly have PCOS, and a big cause of that can be insulin resistance. So I'm doing a lot of exploring right now on what's working and what's not working.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here. Because I said I always think it's sugar.
Yeah.
Because for me, like I like to drink vanilla lattes,
Oh,
but I
that
find if I drink them a lot, I start to get zits, and I think it's the sugar.
definitely. Yeah. That can do it for some people. Um, yeah. And insulin resistance, like it's related to sugar and how your body processes it. So,
Yeah. I took 1 year, a couple years ago, and I didn't eat meat. I did eat fish and eggs, but I didn't eat meat for a year.
mhm.
I find myself mentally sharper when I have meat in my diet.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I stopped doing the no meat thing because I felt very like not very like moderately sluggish. Like I felt
Mhm.
just kind of like foggy and not as sharp. And then when I brought the meat back, I felt a little sharper. So that's why I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, definitely. And then also like I'm super into like, liver as well. I take the supplements because I don't want to eat it, but there's so many vitamins and nutrients in that as well. So if you're not
Okay.
taking that, maybe look into that too, because it's really helpful.
And what was it?
Just like liver, if you're okay with just cooking it and eating it a few times a week, or if you're lazy like me and you just want to take them in capsules, that also works. So yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Little sidebar on the
Oh
carnivore
yeah.
diet. I'm kind of curious about it too because I am, like I said, I'm getting back in the gym. And for me personally, everyone's different, but for me, if I'm lifting, I have to eat a lot of like meat.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's kind of not worth it. It's like kind of pointless to get in there.
hmm Yeah. The only thing with carnivore diet is make sure you eat a lot of fat because if you're not having the carbs as your fuel, you're gonna need the fat as your fuel.
Ah, okay. Good to know.
Mhm.
Good to know. All right, moving right along. See, that's why the game is fun because it spurs
Yeah.
other conversation.
Yeah.
So you got that one correct. So you choose to stick to a plant-based diet for a few days to prepare your mind and body.
Mhm.
The pre-journey diet includes more than just food. Do you A, avoid watching any movies or engaging with social media for at least a few days before the journey, or B, engage with films and content that are thought-provoking in order to come up with ideas of what to work on during the journey?
I would definitely say A because it's better to just go within. than be influenced by outside factors.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, A is correct. You don't want other sources kind of diluting your own internal process.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. So you decide to abstain from movies and social media to ensure a clearer mental space. In order to strengthen your body and nervous system before the journey, do you A, integrate daily meditation and breathwork sessions into your routine, or B, increase your weightlifting and cardio so you'll have a strong body for the journey?
Mm. I mean, I feel like if I had to only pick one, it would probably be A, but I like both. Why not both? But that's just because I'm in that world and I don't want to give it up.
I like that answer too. Strong body, strong mind.
Yeah, yeah. But if I
Uh,
had to, it would be A, but I say both.
I think that's a fantastic answer. I think that's I have A as the right answer, but I think both is actually a better answer, you know.
Hmm.
And plus you're when you're taking care of yourself, it feels good to take care of yourself. You know, you're in the gym, then mentally you feel good too, you know?
Yeah.
So
And it's also, some could argue the gym is a form of meditation.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that too. Okay, great. So we'll go both. So you're doing meditation, breath work, weightlifting, maybe you're hitting the bag. You're doing it all.
Yeah.
So, okay, so now you've prepared and you are now in the plant medicine ceremony. As the psychedelic experience intensifies, you start feeling a bit overwhelmed. Do you A, reach out to your facilitator for guidance on managing the overwhelming feelings, or B, embrace the intensity, allowing the experience to unfold?
Definitely B. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
nice.
And different traditions are different, you know. Costa Rica, they really encouraged us to ask for help. And the mestizo tradition that I was in, they really encouraged us to go within, you know, but I do think going within is better.
I agree. I like that. I like the idea of like try to go within, see if you
Yeah.
can do it. You know,
Hmm.
maybe you can. You know, there's probably some music playing. Maybe you can take one or two songs to try to do it internally, and then after two songs, if it's not working, then maybe after that, ask for help. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
but I like the idea of like trying to give it a try. You know,
Yeah.
fantastic. So B is correct. You decide to embrace the intensity and allow the experience to unfold naturally. The visuals become vivid and you find yourself in a surreal landscape. Do you A, close your eyes and focus on internal sensations, or B, explore the landscape interacting with the visuals?
And is are both answers are internally, right?
Yes.
Okay, what was the second option again? Sorry.
So the second option is explore the landscape interacting with the visuals. Do you want to hear both options?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
A is close your eyes and focus on internal sensations. B is explore the landscape interacting with the visuals.
I maybe A.
A?
Yeah.
Okay, why are you going A?
Um, because, well, in my experience, I've never quite forced an interaction. It just happened. So I just let whatever it is come to me.
Mhm.
Um, but maybe there's different experiences where you can interact, and I don't see anything wrong with that either.
Okay, cool. But for you, you're kind of surrendering and just kind of
Yeah.
receiving whatever comes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fantastic. We'll go with that. Well, I'm going to give it to you. I actually had B, but I'm going to give you the points anyways
Okay.
because I like your explanation.
Thanks.
Okay, so you're basically you're just receiving. You surrender and you're letting it unfold and you're just letting it kind of come to you.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the atmosphere becomes challenging and you feel a sense of fear. Do you
Mm.
A, confront the fear, exploring its origin, or B, request support from your facilitator to navigate through the challenging emotions?
Definitely A. Yes, for sure.
A. Yeah,
Yeah, you
fantastic.
gotta confront that with curiosity.
Yeah. I like that you added curiosity to that too. Confront that with curiosity.
Yeah.
Well said. So you decide A is correct. You decide to confront the fear, exploring its source within the psychedelic experience. You find the source of your fear and achieve a state of inner peace and bliss. After the psychedelic journey, your facilitator emphasizes the importance of integration. Do you A, journal about your experience to gain insights and reflections, or B, choose not to dwell on the experience, assuming it will naturally integrate over time?
I think journaling is so important. I've journaled every single experience, and
Yeah,
sometimes when I'm, life is lifing, I can revert back to that and be like, oh yeah, I remember that lesson. Okay, you know?
nice. Yeah, fantastic. I've also heard people describe their experiences like as very dreamlike, and
Mm,
much like a dream, you lose details very rapidly as
you
time
do.
as you move as you know time goes on and you move away from the experience, you start to lose those details. So I've heard other people say write that stuff down because it's kind of like a dream and you might start to forget some of the stuff that you would otherwise want to remember.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like even just dreams, I'm like, oh, I don't want to wake up. I'll remember that. Or I'll have like a good idea for a poem when I'm sleeping. I'm like, oh, I'll remember that. I'll write it down. And I never remember it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens every time. It's like as soon as you wake up, you're like, that dream was amazing. What was it? I lost
Yeah.
it.
It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
weird.
crazy. Okay, so where were we? You opted A is correct. You opt to journal about your experience, gaining valuable insights and reflections. As you gain insight, you feel the overwhelming urge to call your former employer and tell them how you really feel. Do you A, call them and tell them what's on your mind, or B, wait at least a couple days before making any heavy phone calls?
Okay, that's funny because that happened to me. So you definitely do B. Um, yeah, I almost did that and I got chastised a little bit to wait. And yeah, you should wait a few days.
Okay, cool. So you felt that you had a powerful experience and you're like, I'm gonna tell this person right now what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. You should just let it sit for a little bit and calm
Just give
down.
it a few days. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let that
definitely.
integrate for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so you got that one correct. We are on the last question.
Mm.
You choose to wait a few days and sit with your feelings before making any heavy calls. Once you have sat with the feelings after the experience, do you A, integrate the lessons learned into your habits and behaviors, or B, keep the psychedelic experience separate from your daily life?
I would say A.
A, yeah, that's an easy one. We've been
Yeah, yeah.
anyone that's been listening to the rest of this episode knows that we've been talking about integration and the importance of that.
Mhm.
So A is correct. Congratulations, you have survived this podcast.
Yay, thank you. And I
Yeah,
love how the
thanks.
questions like paralleled our conversations.
Yeah, thank you for playing
Yeah.
along. It's a lot of fun for me at least, and I think the audience likes it too.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So thank you for playing along. And yeah, like as we wrap it up here, where is there anywhere people can find you or anything you want to leave? What do you want people to know before we sign off?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to find me, my Instagram is average sailor. I really need to think of a new name. I just haven't been able to think of one, but that's where you'll find me for now.
I think Average Sailor is pretty good. That's a pretty good handle.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then other than that, yeah, I don't really know. I just really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, for sure. You'll have to like post poetry and stuff and when your book comes out, make sure to like
Yeah.
put the link on your page or something and
Yeah, well, okay, I have a slight struggle of I really want to put it out and I want everyone to see it, but I don't want my family to see it. So I'm trying to work on like how to navigate that, but maybe I'll just get over it and I'll just put it out there.
yeah, we'll have to do another episode on that. That's so, you were talking earlier about psychology, and I think that's very interesting psychologically, but I can relate to that too. Sometimes people in my family are like, oh, we've been listening to your podcast. And I'm like, oh, geez.
Yeah, you're like, no, don't look at me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I definitely if I do put anything on my Instagram, It's more of my I don't even want to say watered down, but more of my more digestible poems.
Mhm.
I think my best poems are probably like the heaviest ones. But I'm not quite ready to put those out yet. I hope one day I will be. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
let's keep in touch on the poetry book. And as your next fight approaches, I'd love to have you back on maybe like before or after the fight. Um,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think after would be good.
yeah, let's do a check-in after your fight.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. And good luck and enjoy your training and we'll see you after the fight.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Amazing. Thanks so much. Bye everyone.